Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. We are your host. Once again, I am TJ Kern. That is my buddy Blake Hartsfield. Blake, Victory Pod. We love when we get to do a Victory Pod. The Red Raiders went to AT&T Jones South in Houston, where our biggest alumni base is. The fans showed up, and so did the football team.
Home game, TJ. Even Coach McGuire talked about it. Barron talked about it after the game. They didn't have to use the silent count because it was a home game, which we predicted on this podcast. TJ, this was a frustrating game at times. It felt like the scoreline should have been a lot worse than it actually ended up being with how well the Red Raiders played in this game. But at the end of the day, for the better part of a decade, we withered in the wilderness, longing for a good football team and a good football program. And we would have killed for an opportunity to, quote unquote, not play our best game and win a conference game on the road against an undefeated opponent by 3 scores. And that's what the Red Raiders did here. So at the end of the day, it felt like kind of checking a box, taking care of business, and we're on to Kansas this week.
So let me ask you this, because I get the part that, are we getting to the point that this team's kind of spoiling us a little bit? Like we're a couple of drop passes here, there. It kind of feels like the basketball team to me. And what I mean by that is like, oh yeah, we'll just boat race this team on to the next boat race. All right, but man, is this team exciting. Now, a lot of field goals on Saturday. Got some red zone issues to work out. Got some little drop issues we got to work on. Lots of things that I think Coach McGuire and the team going to hit the film room and get to work this week before Kansas. But man, I'm with you. I mean, it's exciting to go out there and have a football team and a football program that you can be proud of.
Yeah. TJ, I think you touched on probably for me the most. I know you're going to say the penalties, which was better than Utah. Still, even McGuire talked about it in his presser today of pre-snap penalties, particularly on the goal line. But for me, I think the thing that was most frustrating was the inefficiency in the red zone, and that's starting to become a little bit of a problem throughout the season. I think the broadcast said they're like 9th in the Big 12, and TJ, I think on Saturday's game, I think really if Coy Eakin catches the screen pass on the first drive, he scores. If Caleb Douglas catches the little slant on the 8-yard line, he probably scores. And all of a sudden you're going from a little frustrated to, hey, we really played well. McGuire in his press conference said he thought we should have scored 60. They rack up over 500 yards of offense, right? They were moving the ball. I don't know that spoiled is the right word, because I don't think any Red Raider is spoiled. And you mentioned the basketball team, right? We've had a sustained run of success in basketball, minus one really bad year with Mark Adams, where you've kind of you step on the floor and 80% of the time when the Red Raiders take the floor, the fan base is really confident, right? Like, hey, this is a game we should win comfortably. And when they quote unquote screw around with a lesser opponent, you're like, okay, like, can we focus and just take it? And then they inevitably go on a run and they do that. I don't think it's to that point at all, because this is the first year we've been really elite. Obviously, McGuire's been building the program for the last few years. I think it's more of even though we've considered ourselves a basketball school for the better part of 8 or 9 years, football runs deep at Texas Tech. It runs deep in Texas. This is a smart fan base. They how important the sport is to the state. When you drop a screen pass that should be a walk-in touchdown for Coy Eakin, I don't know that that's spoiled so much as just like, come on, like it's not being focused. It's frustrating to the fan base, but again, they take care of business. And like I said, I don't think it's a spoiled so much as a like, hey, that's a play a middle schooler can make. Let's be making that play at a Division I level.
Yeah, I don't know that spoiled was the right word, but it's kind of like, are we expecting too much now? Being favored, and we are going out there, and if you watched the game, they dominated.
Coach absolutely.
McGuire, right. They dominated on defense. They dominated on offense. Should have been a 60 burger. and you should have won by 50.
Well, and then the referees took away a defensive touchdown on, and I'm not going to complain about the refs, right? I mean, like,
Oh yeah, no, we got cheated on another Skylar Gill Howard touch.
yeah, that should not have been called back. But I will say, that it's nice. At least I know we're one of the most penalized teams in the conference, but 90% of our penalties are pre-snap penalties where they kind of have to call it, right? It does feel like in the run of play, other than the one on Skylar Gill Howard, or the callback on the Skylar Gill Howard second interception or fumble, whatever you want to call that, where he kind of ripped the ball out. It feels like we're finally one of the halves in the conference, and the officials are kind of giving us the benefit of the doubt in the manner that Oklahoma and Texas obviously got for years, but then kind of in more recent years that TCU has gotten, or Kansas State has gotten, or Iowa State has gotten, or Colorado last year was really the big beneficiary of it, where they kind of give you the benefit of the doubt. And I think Tech is that team this year, and it's kind of arrived. But yeah, I mean, it was a game that they dominated. And TJ, we haven't talked about him yet, but I don't know that there's enough flowers and good things that we can say about this defense. I mean, they just continue to just dominate at the line of scrimmage. They're really good on the back end. Jacob Rodriguez should be in the Heisman conversation. Like, I say that half jokingly, but like, we knew he was good, right? But this is the first year that he's been able to run free because of the defensive line not, having a guard get to the second level in 1 second. And man, he's such a good football player, and this defense just continues to dominate.
Defense is dominating, and the offense looked good. Your running backs, both Jacoby Williams over 100 yards, and then Dickey with career highs in receiving and rushing in that game. And man, it's nice to have the offensive line graded out well. Howard Sampson and these PFF grades, man, you love to see it.
Can we take a second to acknowledge how well Ponton is playing as a redshirt freshman? Yeah. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman, TJ. He is dominating on the right side of the line. He's been really, really good. So, yeah, I mean, the line. My only complaint with the offensive line really is just the pre-snap penalties. If they can clean that up, I think the offensive line has been really good so far this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The playmakers are doing their thing outside of the, little drop here or there. But for the most part, you're Barron's playing well. Mac Leftwich, this offense is very appeasing to the eye, right? It's nice to see. And I can't say, like, I'm gushing over here, Blake. I don't know what to say at this point.
Barron had probably had the quietest great game of all time the other night, right? Because not all time, but you get what I'm saying, right? So he goes 28 of 40. He only throws one touchdown. He finishes with a really good QBR, right? 76.6, which is really good game. TJ threw for 345 yards. That's like the quietest 345, other than the one highlight play to Dickey where he made a short little throw and then Dickey took off and ran. Like, he was efficient. He didn't make mistakes. He wasn't trying to do too much. And of that 28 to 40, he probably had 3 or 4 drops. So where he made a good throw and it happens, right? But I hope that this game quieted the whole. I'm not taking anything away from Hammond, but this section of the fan base, it's like, oh, Hammond should be starting, which, as you know, I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's kind of the backup quarterback.
I know
always gets the love.
I know. I think that whole. Every time I see it, there's a couple of posters on Scarlet and Black Insider that are continuing to beat that narrative. And every time I read one of their posts, I just want to roll my eyes and be like, you just don't understand the dynamics of that locker room. And Barron is not being asked to be. He's not being asked to be Mahomes, right? He's not being asked to go out there and carry the team on his back. He's being asked to go out there and not make mistakes, right? Make the plays that you're expected to make, keep the ball, keep the sticks moving. And that's what he's doing. I mean, he's being really efficient. And TJ, they have the number 1 passing offense in the country. So, like, what more would you like for Barron to do?
I think Barron's doing a great job. The coaching staff had this team ready to play on the road.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, it was a fun game to watch. I really enjoyed it. And then Blake, about halftime, this is starting to become a trend.
Another 5-star.
Another 5-star in-game commit.
Yeah.
Jalen Brewster, the Cedar Hill defensive lineman, the number one defensive lineman in the country in the class of 2027.
I'm sure you've seen all the Twitter memes of the shot from Cody on his phone right before that news broke, and people were having a lot of fun with that because the broadcast showed him he was looking at his phone for something. But no, I mean the Cody Campbell money train keeps on rolling down the tracks. I mean, it's just it's really unbelievable that they're recruiting at the level that they're recruiting. Obviously, I make jokes about the money train. There's some truth into that, but you also have to give credit to the staff and to the culture that McGuire has been able to build and the facilities and everything else. But yeah, I mean, and it's not just that they're signing 5-stars to me, TJ. It's the positions that they're signing them at, right? Like for those keeping score at home in the class of 2027 now, you now have the number one defensive tackle in the country in Brewster, who just committed. You already signed the number one edge in the country, the kid out of Georgia, right?
Guyton.
Guyton. And don't look now, but Kavion Bryant's committing in like a week or two. That is going to happen. He is going to commit to Texas Tech. So, number one defensive tackle, number one defensive end, number one quarterback. I mean, you couldn't ask for better positions to sign him at, right? So be great across the defensive front, as we've seen from this year's team. Be great at the quarterback position. You're going to win a lot of football games.
Man, it is really exciting. And Blake, that leads us to this week in a blackout. We
Yep.
got a night game in the Jones into October here, and Kansas coming to town. Red Raiders are almost a 2-touchdown favorite. I don't know how Vegas Blake feels about that, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. But I am you always got to love a blackout.
Love the blackout, TJ.
And the alternate uniforms.
Yeah, they're wearing the throwbacks, which I really like those uniforms for the record. I think that they look really good. I think they're going to pop on television, especially with the blacked out crowd behind them. The blackout thing has been a Texas Tech thing for a long time. Obviously the most famous game in school history was a blackout, and that was kind of in my opinion, the game that put the whole blackout thing on the map for all of college football, because we did it on national television in a top 10 game, and we wore the all black uniforms, and everybody knows that story. And now it's like everybody does some version, like the Aggies did it the other night. And it's like, they don't even have black as their, but I mean, it's just become a thing, right? And it's always cool to see the Red Raiders. As far as the Vegas Blake prediction, TJ, it did open at 14.5. So it was over 2 touchdowns. It has dropped to 13.5. I think Red Raider Nation, if they want to make a little bit of extra scratch here, needs to take the Red Raiders. I do think that this is a game that will be competitive for a half, similar to the Houston really wasn't competitive in the first half. I think this will be more akin to the Utah game. I think that Kansas is a little better than Houston, especially offensively. But this is a game the Red Raiders pull away in the third quarter. I don't think it goes as long as being competitive as Utah did. They're going to cover the 13.5. So take those points, TJ. Again, for those keeping score at home, the Red Raiders are now 5-0 on the season. They are 5-0 against the spread. And as I've always said, good teams win and great teams cover. And they're going to cover again this week.
Well, there we go here in the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. TJ and Blake having some fun after a Red Raider victory on Saturday against the Houston Cougars. And I got KU coming to town. So I heard McGuire in his press conference today say, we're not going to overlook these guys. They should be 6-0 and yada, yada. Was that some coach speak?
I think it was a little bit of coach speak. To be fair to what he said, they did kind of blow the game against Missouri at Missouri. They were up big, and then they kind of fell apart in the fourth quarter. I do think Daniels is a really good quarterback. I think he's particularly at the college level. I don't know that he's going to do much at the next level, but he's athletic. He can make plays with his legs. They do call design runs for him. not in the manner that Utah does it. They're going to run more like speed option type stuff. That's kind of a signature thing of the Leopold offense up there. He's got a really great receiver who's electric with speed on the outside that I think is leading the conference in yardage. It's a game the Red Raiders need to be focused, but again, this is a game you expect to win.
And not only do you expect to win this one, like if Arizona State holds, could you have a game day next week, the following week?
No chance you get game day. Game day is not going to go anywhere but SEC and Big Ten games. I will say this though, TJ, if we're going to look ahead, because we're not the team, and we've talked about they need to be 1 week at a time, and McGuire certainly is, even in his press conference today, was pushing that message, but we're not a part of the team. We're allowed to look at the 10,000-foot view and talk about the future. And TJ, I really like how this schedule sets up for the Red Raiders. In theory, right, you should be able to pull away from Kansas early in the second half. You're at home, right? You don't have to travel. It's a game that you should win fairly comfortably. As you head into, in my opinion, the last major hurdle. Not to say that BYU isn't going to be a tough game, and I know they stink, but I'm not going to write off the trip to Manhattan until it's done, because that's just been a house of horrors for the Red Raiders over the years. But Arizona State's your biggest game left on your schedule. Everybody knows it. It's a game that this week that you should be able to pull away. TJ, Arizona State's got a tough game this week. They got to go play at Utah in a night game. Up at Utah. Utah is physical, right? They battled the Red Raiders and matched the physicality for 3 quarters until the Red Raiders kind of wore them down. Of the 2 games, Arizona State's got to travel. They got the tougher opponent and the more physical opponent. Utah's a more physical team than Kansas is. Kansas is a little more finesse. So maybe you got a little bit lucky on that scheduling. Arizona State will come out of it if they win, and I'm not convinced that they're going to. I think that's a coin flip game up in Utah. But if they win, maybe they come out of that game a little beat up, a little sore, an injury or two. So I think this helps your schedule. You got a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but that's the big one, right? So they've got that game circled. McGuire will tell you they don't, but they clearly had the Utah game circled, right? There's no way that locker room doesn't have the Arizona State game circled, because everybody knows the implications of that game.
It was the first time, Blake, I love this stat. The first time the Red Raiders have won 5 games in a row by more than 20 points since the 50s, Blake.
I know. TJ, this team's good. They're really good. They did break into the top 10. Thank you to our good friends down in Austin for going and getting their asses handed to them out in Florida against the not very good Florida team. Which, by the way, did you see Sark's excuse on that today at his press conference? I don't know if you saw that or not.
No.
But he got asked about their struggles, and he said, "Well, why don't you put the other 135 Division I teams and play our schedule and have to go to Ohio State and go to the Swamp and see how they do?" And I'm like, "Are you?" I was laughing because that's like the lamest excuse of all time, because they haven't beaten anybody either. In the top 10, rolling. Have a chance to continue to creep up, right? Texas could beat Oklahoma this week. Anybody else loses, you could continue to creep up. But as I've said, the ranking will take care of itself. You just keep winning.
Just have to win.
Just keep winning, and it takes care of itself. TJ, if they stay focused and they win the game next week against Arizona State, they should run the table. In all honesty, they should run the table. They should end up as a top 4 seed in the playoff, where you get a bye and then you get to play your first game at the Cotton Bowl, because they try to put the 1 to 4 seeds at the bowl game kind of closest to their house. So you would get if the 4 seeds are the winner of the Big Ten, so Ohio State or Oregon, Miami, Tech, and then either the winner of the SEC or the loser of the Big Ten game, depending on the SEC champion's record. Either way, the SEC champions going to the Sugar Bowl or going to the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, and they move those bowls around based on who those 4 teams are. But you'd get to play at the Cotton Bowl, so you could be playing back-to-back games at Jerry World, right? The Big 12 championship game and then the second round of the playoffs because you had a bye, and we all know that'll be a home game.
anytime the Red Raiders get to play in the state of Texas, good chance it's going to feel like a home game.
Unless they're playing at Austin or College Station. That's
Well,
the only two true
neutral.
road games.
Yeah.
Well, in football, if we play in Austin in basketball, it's a home game. But when we play down there in football, it's a road game.
Speaking of the basketball team, Blake, it's almost that time. We're getting closer and closer. And I can't wait until we do a basketball preview and just kind of get basketball Blake's view on this new team. We got Christian Anderson and JT Toppin back.
National Player of the Year, TJ. Naismith, National Player of the Year, Mr. JT Toppin. I'm putting that into the ether now. It's going to happen.
Hey, if that happens, man, hey, ladies and gentlemen in Red Raider Nation, enjoy this time. Just take it one game at a time. Enjoy this ride. Top 10 football program, top 10 basketball program. You know, the LeBron meme where he's like, I used to pray for times like this or whatever, right? Man, I mean, when we were students or when I was a student there, we had the Crabtree year, but then basketball was just awful. We've never had both at the same time.
We were close, TJ. It wasn't a top 10 good like it is going, like it's about to be when the basketball poll officially comes out. But, it from about 2006, it was right before I got, it was, you might have been there in 06, but it was before I got to school. I showed up in 10, but I was there at the Crabtree game because I grew up a Tech fan. But from about 2006 to 2009, so the end of the Leach era and the back half of the Bobby Knight era, we were very good in both, right? Bobby Knight never had us in the top 10, but he was consistently making the tournament. He was consistently winning a game in the tournament, maybe not always getting to the Sweet 16, but we were pretty good in basketball and pretty good in football, but not this good. I mean, this is TJ. There's not very many programs that have both in the top 10 at the same time. I mean, Alabama for a couple of years, right when Nate Oates showed up there at the back end of the Saban era, was able to say that. But I mean, it just doesn't happen very often.
I mean, they're talking about Texas Tech on a national level in the same conversation as Georgia, Alabama, like blue bloods of the blue bloods. And then I see a tweet today, top 10 basketball arenas. And you're right there with the Kansases and the Kentuckys and the Arizonas.
The USA is 100% a top 10 arena in college basketball. It's a top 10 toughest place to play. Just ask Bill Self. He doesn't like coming down here to play, right? He'll tell you, he's like, Lubbock's tough, right? And so, which by the way, I saw that same list. I think there was 4 Big 12 venues in the top 10 because it had Hinkle at Iowa State, obviously the Fog, and then I can't think of Arizona. The name. It starts with an M, but Arizona Stadium or arena was in the top 10 as well. I think it's the Mackey, maybe. Is that right? I don't know.
Yeah, something. So, I mean, it's just a fun time right now for those of us that have been around for a little while to really see the fruits of this whole new era of college basketball and college football, new era in college sports, period, because you've got the soccer team and the softball team both in the top 10.
Yep.
On top of what the track team's doing. It's a fun time to be a Red Raider, Blake.
Keep filling up your car, TJ. Do your part.
Yeah.
Fill up the car. Support Texas Tech athletics.
Yes, sir. Well, Blake, Mahomes is playing football right now.
I got a Chiefs game to go watch here.
So. Yeah, Mahomes is playing football right now, and I got Cooper Flag on the TV over here, so I'm going to go watch a little Cooper Flag as well. But, man, I appreciate you hanging on with me with my work schedule this week, and we'll talk to you guys as soon as next week, right after the ball game. And
preview Arizona State.
How do we always get out of here, man?
Wreck 'em.
Wreck 'em. We'll talk to you guys soon right here on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast.